You know the feeling. You've just survived watching one of the best cinematic experiences in your entire life. But it was so draining, so emotionally exhaustive, that you make a pact with yourself never to revisit it again. That's the general vibe today. We're here to investigate horror films that really put a damper on the mood. Here are 5 horror movies guaranteed to ruin your day. Threads is a 1984 British-Australian co-production about the fallout of a nuclear war between the United States and Russia. Terrifying realism at its most brutally honest, this low-budget production is still considered by some to be the closest representation of fictional nuclear war ever depicted on screen. Also likely one of the most disturbing films ever produced. Threads will unlock the floodgates in a way you may not anticipate. So be careful with this one, and don't say I didn't warn you. A two-hander between a disgraced puppeteer and his abusive uncle, this truly upsetting psychological horror film is sure to trigger your arachnophobia. Sean Harris and Alun Armstrong deliver take-your-breath-away performances, and the fantastical element of Possum the Puppet is Babadook levels of layered psycho-family freaky. While Possum never got the acclaim it deserved, it's great to see the horror community claiming it as a heartbreaking title worth revisiting. This ballsy horror film concerns Jack, played by Matt Dillon, a serial killer who is responsible for several brutal slayings in Washington state. Co-starring Uma Thurman, Bruno Ganz, and Riley Keough, the narrative format of The House That Jack Built might surprise you if you haven't had this one spoiled just yet. Creative, brutal, and totally one of a kind, this nasty slice of modern cinema is too tough to sit through more than once. Another film with deeply disturbing American undertones is The Girl Next Door, based on a novel of the same name by horror hero Jack Ketchum. The book was inspired by the true story of Sylvia Marie Likens, an American teenager who was tortured and murdered by her household and other members of her Indiana neighborhood in 1965. During the trial for her death, Deputy Prosecutor Leroy New described the ordeal as the most diabolical case to come before a court or jury. Saint Maud was the debut feature of filmmaker Rose Glass. Part psychological horror movie, part devastating drama, this critical darling concerns a hospice nurse named Maud who finds God and decides to make it everyone else's problem. After this brutal horror ballad saw its world premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival, it was released theatrically in the UK and became one of 2021's most highly anticipated horror titles. And those were 5 horror movies to ruin your day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.